evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television. First, our major stories. Another academic year begins in the Republic of Cameroon amid lockdown, ghost town, threats and uncertainty in the crisis-stricken northwest and southwest regions where security tensions have been raging for over 7 years now. Still on back to school, it rained cats and dogs across several neighborhoods in the city of Douala on day one of school resumption, and some children had to brave the odds by going to school under the rain while others had to stay back at home. Away from that, we'll take you to the Makia neighborhood in the Douala 2 subdivision where it was a tense atmosphere today in that part as inhabitants expressed anger over the killing of a young man by a military officer in the course of a military raid. And also, we'll take you out of Cameroon where at least 48 people have died in the central Nigerian state of Niger after a fuel tanker collided with a lorry that carried passengers and cattle. Those are major stories. Stick around for the development of these stories. Once more, thank you so much for choosing Equinoxe Television for presentation. I am Immaculate Fogwe. Several students in the southwest region decided to stay indoors on day one of school reopening due to the security threat. From Boya to Kumba, some areas were characterized by deserted streets. The governor of the southwest region, Bernard Kalabilai, visited schools within Boya and says they will continue to fight against those who want to disturb the peace of the region. Smagic and Gabriel reports.
Armored vehicles set to accompany the governor of the southwest region, Bernard Okalabilai, as he starts a tour of schools to evaluate the start of the new academic year. Southwest governor made stopovers at mostly boarding institutions within his zone of jurisdiction, amongst them the Presbyterian Comprehensive Secondary School, Baptist High School and Bishop Rogan College of Small Sopo in Boya. At each stops, the governor left a similar message.
Reassuring them that the authorities, the forces of law and the entire population is behind them. We should continue because the school has so far too much share. We have committed ourselves. We have decided that no more trouble within the campus, no more threat against schools.
Before the governor's inspection, Boya woke up with quietness as most streets were ghosted and void of movement. In Kumba, the senior divisional officer was shocked to see just 3 students at Cameroon College of Arts and Science, CAS Kumba, with some teachers also absent on day one of back to school. The ex-DO left instructions.
The names and mapping numbers of all the teachers, all of them, who chief in the middle of the town is the blessing of Almighty God. But if you are here to disgrace the hierarchy, you know the good. Let me go down this to remove.
Meanwhile, in primary schools, 5 pupils answered present, with some classes having no pupils, as they boycotted the start of the new school year for the fear of the unknown.
I'm appealing to all the parents to send their children to school, that all the children should leave their houses and go back to school. We have started and we are not turning back. The teachers are already set.
The town of Kumba was also void of movement as most commissioned motorcycle riders and car owners stayed indoors, causing a teacher who had trekked for a long distance to receive prayers from another colleague after suffering from a malaise.
And it was quite a different scenario in the city of Douala as pupils were able to brave the odds by attending day one of school resumption despite the heavy rains that flooded several neighborhoods. Speaking to some headmasters, they say all measures have been taken to ensure a hitch-free back to school. Seri Chakutio tells us more on the ambience in some primary schools on day one of school resumption.
Rain that fell in the city of Douala at the start of the 2024-2025 school academic year did not stop the enthusiasm of the little ones. Here at La Fougère Primary School at Cité des Palmiers, Douala 5 subdivision, the bells also rang a difficult start for the pupils in the nursery section. For a smooth start, the administrative bodies of the school have taken a head start as usual. a context marked with crises in the northwest and southwest regions, some primary schools like La Lumière are set ready to receive these pupils who for some time did not attend classes.
And this very first day, wow, the ambience has been more than what we were thinking, no matter the heavy downpour that we had this morning. With these children, pupils, our learners brave all the odds to make it present in school today, together with all the teachers. We got some children from northwest and southwest region that are coming from the crisis zone, and the first thing that we have done to them is to assure them, that is to put confidence, more confidence in them, so that they should feel relaxed and carry out their learning activities without any problem.
At Etienne Le Marty Primary School, teachers directly entered into lessons, saying that school begins the very first day.
In order to prepare the minds of these pupils, as you can see on the blackboard, I gave them a diagnostic evaluation. The aim of this diagnostic evaluation is to test the knowledge of the pupils, their levels, if they are able or fit for the future coming official exam, which is common entrance and first school.
The pupils on their part.
And now, still on our back to school page, heavy rain to the city of Douala could not deter some students from answering present on day one of school resumption. Administrative authorities in Douala were in Bonaberry to ensure all goes on well. Annabella takes us to some secondary schools right here in the city of Douala.
On the very first day of back to school in the Douala 4 subdivision, students of GBHS and Lycée Polyvalent plus other institutions in Bonaberry braved the heavy downpour of the early hours of the morning to answer present in school.
Mais moi je ne pouvais pas rester à la maison, il fallait que je vienne à l'école. Je ne pouvais pas rester à la maison à cause de la pluie.
Be it with umbrellas or on bikes, most of the students took to the road early September 9.
They choose the first place in class and meet my teachers first, take the first information that's going to be given, and participate firstly in all activities they're going to take on the first day.
Some of them had to leave home with 2 pairs of shoes or were obliged to protect their footwears with plastic papers. The teachers and school administration in Bonaberry, despite the rains, were present to welcome the students.
Immediately the students came on campus, we gave them hope, we gave them assurance. We said, you have gone 3 months on rest, on holidays. Academic starts today, so all of them, you should be ready and there should be no laxity. Every child should get ready. Classes started, teachers were on board, and the children yielded to the call.
Preference was also given to internally displaced persons from the northwest and southwest regions.
At the moment, we won't actually close our doors to the internally displaced students from the northwest and southwest. And the approach the school is actually put it in place for the fact that they have been home for a couple of years without schooling, is that we have classes going on Saturdays and we have catch-up classes.
With a dose of administrative tolerance, the gates were left open, all because of the heavy morning rains. The divisional officer for Douala 4, the mayor plus other top administrative officials of the littoral, including the senior divisional officer, were on the fields to ensure that back to school was safe and effective in Bonaberry, Douala.
Staff Lady Annabella reporting there. And let's now take a listen to the Senior Divisional Officer for Uri, Silak Marie Vongo. He was speaking shortly after his visit to some secondary schools right here in the city of Douala.
Very happy to see that the return to school is very effective in this high school. We wanted to appreciate that teachers and student pupils are here at this first day of return to school. We congratulate Mr. Headmaster and all his staff, and we hope that this year, during this year, we are going to avoid all difficulties we faced the last year. And that compromise good results. I call to the responsibility of all our teachers and ask them to consider their work as a call, as exercise does.
Silak Marie Vongo speaking shortly after his maiden visit to some secondary schools across the city of Douala. Away from that, to now talk our major lead story. A military man escapes after shooting to death a 40-year-old man in the Makia neighborhood that is in the Douala 2 subdivision. His 2 accomplices have been arrested while he's still on the run. The perpetrator was after a man who reportedly stole his mobile phone days ago. Innocent Aze explains to us what exactly happened in Makia yesterday.
The third incident happened in the Makia neighborhood, Douala 2 municipality at about 10 p.m. Sunday. 40-year-old Chencho Guy Stefan, commonly known as Fiston, a driver by profession, was killed by a stray bullet from the gun of a military man who was after an individual who allegedly stole his mobile phone days back in Makia. He was being led by a lady who claimed knew the thief. I witnessed what happened. The military man in the company of a lady and another man arrived in civilian wear in search of a man who stole his phone. When he set eyes on him, he pulled out his gun and began shooting the target, who took to his heels. Unfortunately, Fiston, who was sitting over there, was hit by a bullet. Informed of the casualty, the gunman escaped. The lady was finally picked up. Remains of Fiston were collected by security forces and taken to the morgue of the military hospital, where the relatives and inhabitants were denied access to the corpse of their brother. The divisional officer of Douala 2, Stefan Kenzana, devastated by the incident, assured the 2 accomplices have been apprehended with investigation on course to nab the said military man still on the run.
Nous espérons que dans les prochains jours, nous pourrons mettre la main sur le coupable et évidemment le mettre à la disposition des autorités judiciaires pour qu'ils répondent de cet acte.
According to him, it is time the population of Makia shunned drug trafficking and other criminal activities which are the causes of several deaths in the neighborhood, while the family is still grieving their son's death. Video noted that serenity has returned with people going about their activities normally.
Innocent Aze reporting there. Now to something else. The squabble between the Equinoxe Media House and the National Communication Council took central stage in media debates last weekend. Equinoxe's outright disapproval of censorship by the NCC was the subject of discussion and major TV debate, with the National Communication Council's representative telling these institutions their own side of the story of what recently happened during the visit of the NCC president and his collaborators to Equinoxe. Babla Jonathan tells us more.
After the visit of the National Communication Council (NCC) to the Equinoxe headquarters in Douala, a visit that ended abruptly, the NCC embarks on explanation of what happened and, beyond that, its mission and duties within the ambit of powers conferred on it by the law in different media outlets.
Cette chaîne de télévision privée a été sanctionnée.
The communication officer of the NCC, Denis Bezele, took over 8 minutes 2 seconds to state facts of what happened at Equinoxe.
Certains avaient des bandeaux, des muselines rouges, oui, sur la bouche.
He made mention of some journalists with red bands on their mouth, though only one did so, as an expression of disapproval of censorship by the NCC.
Très mal passé notamment à Equinoxe.
The Director of International Communication at the Ministry of Communication, Jean Lambena, who was part of the delegation of the NCC as a consultant, qualified the expression of the grievances of Equinoxe by the Editor-in-Chief Serge Lontu as a verbal attack against the NCC President and his collaborators.
Le président du Conseil national de la communication et sa délégation ont été pris à partie dans une violence verbale sans...
Unlike the first two, the Secretary General of the National Communication Council, Professor Toby Ond,
la mission première du Conseil national de la communication
focused more on the mission
et le rôle d'une instance comme la nôtre,
duties of the institution, and laid down procedures on the regulation of the media space and the practice of social communication, and more particularly journalism in Cameroon.
And now in news out of the country, at least 48 people were killed on Sunday in a fuel tanker truck explosion in Niger State in north-central Nigeria. And reports say the truck collided with another vehicle, causing the explosion. While in Sudan, 21 people have lost their lives and dozens injured in another paramilitary attack, rapid support force attack that took place over the weekend. Asa Luslengu has the details.
In neighboring Nigeria, 52 people are reported dead after a fuel tanker exploded following a collision with another vehicle in the northern central Niger State. Nigeria's emergency response agency says the fuel tanker was also carrying cattle and at least 50 of them were burnt alive. However, the Director General of Niger State Emergency Management says 48 bodies have been found and search operations continue till this Monday. Away from Nigeria, at least 21 people have died and 70 others injured in an attack attributed to rapid support forces in Senna, northern Sudan. The attack of the paramilitaries took place on September 8, 2024, and according to Sudanese Doctors Network, it was under the command of General Mohamed Hamdan Daglo, who has been fighting against the army of General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. Elsewhere, the death toll of Kenyan school inferno has risen to 21. The fire broke out at a girls' dormitory in a town in central Kenya last Saturday, leaving at least 3 students injured and destroying property. Lastly, Algeria's President Abdelmajid has been re-elected this Saturday as president of the country. He was named the decisive winner of the presidential election after he secured 95% of the vote, leaving behind his challengers Islamist Abdullahi with 3.2% and Socialist Yousef, who won 2.2%. Also, President Abdelmajid has promised to raise employment benefits, pensions and public housing programs. It should be recalled that his first election in 2019 was marked by protests that forced his veteran predecessor Abdulaziz from power after 20 years.
In this first part of the news, we take you to the northwest region where day one of school resumption was characterized by ghost towns, lockdown and security threats in Bamenda. And in Cambe, some parents and school children braved the odds by answering present. Our reporter Annabella takes us to the northwest region to show us how day one of school reopening looks like.
The northwest region, especially in the town of Bamenda, it was total ghost town. Nobody could be spotted in the streets of Bamenda on the very first day of back to school. Only security forces and armored vehicles were seen in Bamenda to ensure that those who braved the odds to go to school should be safe and secured. However, empty streets were observed in the chief town of the northwest region, Bamenda, on the first day of back to school. Moving up to Nkambe in the Ndonga Mantung division, the story was somehow different. Some pupils and students braved insecurity and threats and answered presents in school on day one of school resumption.
Very, very happy for this academic term because many of us expected it to come back. There were many things that were disturbing us, or they were scaring us that the school will not be secured, but I'm so happy that we are in school effective and classes are going on and everywhere is well secured. We are happy to be back in school. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
School doors were open as the TO from Cambe Central says education is the key into the future.
Okay, as the principal said, we came here just to encourage you and address to you a good back to school for the 2024 and 2025 academic year, and use also the opportunity to congratulate the administrative of GBHS and you, the student, for well done work.
The turnout in Cambe is a contrast of what was observed in other towns of the northwest and southwest regions. Most students and pupils stayed indoors for fear of being attacked or disregarding separatist orders.
Staff Lady Annabella reporting there. Now we talk sports. Since the saga between the Ministry of Sport and Physical Education began, one face has been conspicuous, that is of Professor Prosper Nkumvondo. The university professor has been at the forefront of the battle. But who really is Professor Prosper Nkumvondo? Smart Jikangibla sportsman has the answers.
He is certainly one of the most trusted servants of the president of Cameroon Football Federation. The university professor is said to go places just to defend the interests of Samuel Eto'o. Professor Prosper Nkumvondo is well noted for his hard nature of talking and full of actions. Days back, the university professor, without any fear, angrily left a meeting that was organized by the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Chief Professor Narcisse Mwelekombi, that was to prepare for the two matches of the Indomitable Lions against Namibia and Zimbabwe respectively. Talking about his reaction on TV days later, he described the meeting as a mess since the start of the tug-of-war between Fecafoot and Minsep. The picture of the president of the Cameroon Football Federation hasn't been seen, as Professor Prosper Nkumvondo has been the one spearheading fights as well as heading advanced delegations to any destination that the Lions are supposed to be calmed. His recent moves are in the preparation for the two games of Cameroon against Namibia and Zimbabwe. Professor Nkumvondo is noted to have won several court cases at the highest level against executive of the Cameroon Football Federation. Seemingly, things are moving well for the professor now. Professor Prosper Nkumvondo is a university don, master of conference, a political actor, and a football stakeholder.
Smart Jikangibla ending this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe Television. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your keen attention. Coming up next in some few minutes is Equinoxe Soir with Serge Alain Otto. Bye-bye for now. See you tomorrow, God willing, same time.